What's up, guys? It's Benny. We are adults around here. We can take the blame when it's deserved, and we are to blame in part for the Epstein news cycle inside of this new President Donald Trump term, because we were the first to ask Attorney General Pam Bondi where the Epstein documents are, and to our shock, she said they're sitting on my desk, burning a hole through my desk right now in the Attorney General's office at the Department of Justice. Now, this made massive international news, and we awaited the release of the Epstein documents. That came in the form of a binder handed to influencers at the White House that contained already public information that had been public for 10 years. Some of it was even redacted, which was an extra insult. Now, who will suffer the consequences for this embarrassment? Clearly, the people at the FBI who have been fired for this. The head of the FBI field office in New York, James Dennehy, was canned for hiding this information from Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi said after his ouster, and potentially even more ousters, I do find it particularly interesting that James Comey's daughter, Maureen Comey, who works inside as an assistant United States attorney for the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, who has personally prosecuted Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Diddy? That's odd. Funny how James Comey's daughter keeps getting handed all of these big-time Democrat donor cases for sexual predation. No coincidences here. Anyway, the point is that it's a total rat's nest that needed to be cleaned out. Now, I have some breaking news on this. Some of it is reporting that we have done personally, and some of it is President Trump speaking on this issue. Let's cover all of it. Pam Bondi made more news by saying that after blowing up the wall between her and the evidence that belongs to the American public about Epstein, a truckload of new information was delivered to the DOJ. I have spoken to the top possible sources in the FBI and the DOJ, and this is absolutely true. And there will be a massive treasure trove, whatever you want to call it, dark black book that will be released. More Epstein evidence that the public hasn't seen. I hear that we've only seen 1% and that they have the other 99%. That's a direct quote. So we'll see if that plays out, ladies and gentlemen. At this point, it's fool me once kind of thing, right? Shame on you, shame on me. And so Pam Bondi said a truckload of documents have come to my office, and we are working through these brand new documents. Since the public hasn't seen them, it's going to take a moment to get this done. I have confirmed this is happening, and that soon, quite soon, actually, there's going to be a massive Epstein document release that is brand new, that given to the public with as little redactions as humanly possible. Okay, again, ladies and gentlemen, let's listen to two individuals who knew Epstein, right? There are photos of Epstein and Donald Trump back when, Epstein was trying to worm his way into the American political scene and American celebrity scene. Obviously being run as an intel operative, potentially for Mossad, CIA, maybe a joint partnership. I'm not exactly sure. Sure seems likely, given that Epstein's handler was CIA, that the FBI said that Epstein was a cooperator and to not touch him, and that Ghislaine Maxwell's entire family is like Mossad and Israeli intelligence. Sure just seems like exactly what's going on here. Let's listen to what happens when Bill Clinton is asked about Jeffrey Epstein.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
Bill Clinton says, and then he looks back. I mean, isn't that amazing? Look at that look. Look at that knowing look. Bill Clinton daggers right back at the guy. Bill Clinton says, I think the evidence speaks for itself, chuckles and runs away. When Donald Trump is asked about Jeffrey Epstein, again, both these men knew Epstein. Who's behaving guilty here, right? So here's the way that Clinton behaves, and here's the way that Donald Trump behaves. Brand new, President Trump asked about the Epstein files moments ago. Let's listen. I've heard the exact same thing. President Trump there. Again, Bill Clinton and Trump behaving very differently when asked about Epstein. It really makes you wonder, who's guilty here and all this Epstein stuff? An important reminder that Donald Trump is the only person that testified against Jeffrey Epstein in the only case he ever caught, which was a case in 2008 in Palm Beach for underage prostitution, which is what he was convicted of, and then he was set free by the FBI because, as the FBI says in his own words, he's an informant, right? He was working with us. Yeah. Tells you everything. Donald Trump does know everything. He previewed the JFK files to be released very soon. We have a very dark and ominous clip on that. But it's good to see President Trump speaking so openly about this and saying, defending Pam Bondi, putting up a good front and saying, listen, like, this is obviously deep state saboteurs that are trying to stop us. This happened in my first term. We're not going to let them get away with it. Donald Trump, in one of his first political promises ever before he even announced running for president, saying Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein are very connected.
Bill Clinton.
Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein. A lot of problems.
This is 2015 at CPAC. Nobody even knew who Jeffrey Epstein really was, right, at that point. An important also addendum to all of this as to why this is taking so long and how many people are incentivized to never have these documents ever see the light of day. Here's Cindy McCain, whose husband, John McCain, arguably, and I know it's crazy to think, but without question, the most powerful Republican for a period of time in the Republican Party. I mean, he's running for president, right? His name ID is insane. Most powerful Republican in the Republican Party. She's married to him, and here's what she had to say about Epstein.
It's in plain sight. Epstein was hiding in plain sight. We all knew about him. We all knew what he was doing. But we had no one that was, legal aspect that would go after him. They were afraid of him. For whatever reason, they were afraid of him.
We all knew what he was doing. Ladies and gentlemen, this call comes on the tail of President Trump having the highest approval rating ever as commander-in-chief. More Americans than ever say the country is on the right track. If he releases the Epstein evidence as much as there possibly is, then, well, expect more of this. Here's the final thing I'll share with you. President Trump has spoken about why he hasn't released documents before. He did this through Judge Napolitano. Judge Napolitano, somebody who knows, he's a Fox News host, right? He famous and knows Trump for a very long time. And Judge Napolitano said, this is why we didn't get the JFK documents in term one. It's a pretty crazy and dark clip. Maybe this has a lot to do with why we haven't seen the Epstein documents also. Have a listen.
In my last conversation with President Trump in the White House, he called me a lot. And this is after January 6th. So it's 2 weeks before, or a week before he's leaving office. He wanted to run past me the names of people he was going to pardon and sentences he was going to commute. He wanted my opinion on them. Some of them I knew. I said, how you doing? He said, not too well. And he went off into a tangent about what he thought happened with the election. I said, you made a promise to the public many times and to me privately that you haven't kept. What? I'll take care of it right now. I said, you promised you would release the records of the JFK assassination. He said to me, Judge, if they showed you what they showed me, you wouldn't have released it either. And I said, who's they and what did they show you? And then he said, Judge, someday when we're on the phone, and then he raised his voice, and there aren't 15 people listening to the phone call, back to a normal voice, I'll tell you.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this makes it sound even worse. Who are they? Probably somebody in the intelligence community. What did they show him? JFK's brains blown out?
This is it. It was said by one person that after the Kennedy assassination, there has been no president. They have only been factotums of the system since then. Yeah. It may well be the most decisive event in modern American history.